cleaner's black son yelled, "Don't get in the car!" What the CEO did next shocked the whole company. The glass doors of Harrison and Cole Enterprises swung open at exactly 7 a.m. Every employee knew this routine. The tall, sharp figure of Victor Cole, the CEO himself, walked in with the same authority that made even the revolving doors spin faster. He was a man who built empires, a billionaire with no time for weakness. But this morning was different. Because standing near the employee parking lot, a young black boy, barely 12, was shouting at the top of his lungs, "Don't get in the car! Don't get in the car!" Everyone froze. Victor narrowed his eyes. The boy was thin, his clothes faded, shoes almost torn. But his voice, it carried urgency and fear. Employees stopped, phones in hand, whispering, "Who was this child?" Victor's driver, confused, opened the back door of the CEO's sleek black Mercedes. But the boy ran forward, blocking it with his small frame. "Sir, please," he screamed. "Don't sit in that car." Gasps spread across the courtyard. Security guards rushed forward, grabbing the boy by his arm. He struggled, kicking and yelling. Tears filled his eyes. "I'm not lying. Something's wrong. Please believe me." Victor held up a hand, halting the guard. Something about the boy's desperation made him pause. For the first time in years, the CEO didn't step inside his car. Instead, he crouched slightly, looking the boy in the eye. "What's your name, son?" Victor asked. The boy's lips trembled. "Jeremiah. My mom, she works here. She cleans the offices at night. Please, don't go in the car. It's dangerous." The crowd erupted in murmur. "The cleaner's son?" Victor straightened, glancing at his driver, then back at Jeremiah. His instinct told him this was more than a child's outburst. He walked slowly toward the car and stopped dead in his tracks. Because under the sleek black Mercedes, something blinked red. A small light. Victor's heart dropped. He waved everyone back. Security shouted. Panic rippled through the courtyard. One of the guards leaned down, eyes widening in terror. "Sir, there's a device under your car. A bomb." The world spun. Employees screamed, rushing away from the parking lot. Jeremiah's small voice trembled but rang clear. "I told you, sir. I told you not to get in." That moment changed everything. The bomb squad was called. Within minutes, news vans swarmed outside the glass gate. Bomb threat at Harrison and Cole. CEO saved by cleaner son. The headlines flashed everywhere. Inside the building, chaos ruled. Executives whispered, assistants cried, and everyone stared at Jeremiah like he was a miracle. But Victor, he couldn't take his eyes off the boy. How had he known? Later, in the CEO's private office, Jeremiah sat nervously, legs swinging above the carpet. His mother, Martha, stood beside him, pale with fear. She was a middle-aged black woman, wearing her faded uniform. Her eyes darted to Victor, afraid this was the end of her job. "Sir, I'm so sorry," Martha stammered. "My son shouldn't have." Victor raised a hand, silencing her. "Your boy just saved my life." Martha froze, tears welling. Jeremiah looked down, whispering, "I didn't mean to cause trouble. I heard two men in the parking lot last night. They didn't see me, but I heard them say they were going to put something under your car." Victor's jaw clenched. Assassination attempt inside his own company. Executives outside the office buzzed like bees. Who could it be? A rival? Or someone inside the company? Victor looked at Jeremiah. For the first time, the cold billionaire CEO felt something stir inside him. Gratitude, yes, but also guilt, because until today, he had never noticed the cleaner's boy, even though Martha had worked for him for years. He leaned forward. "Jeremiah, you saved me, and I don't forget people who saved my life." The boy looked up, eyes shining. For once, someone powerful had spoken to him, not like a nuisance, but like he mattered. But just as relief filled the room, the door burst open. It was Daniel Reed, Victor's second in command, the ambitious COO of the company. His face was pale, his voice shaking. "Victor, we found something else. In the executive file. This wasn't random. Someone on the inside tried to kill you." Gasp. Martha clutched Jeremiah's shoulder. Victor stood slowly, his face like stone. "Then we're going to find out who." He looked back at Jeremiah and his mother. "And you too are staying right here." Because the moment this boy shouted those words, everything in this company changed. The room was silent. The weight of COO Daniel's words pressed on everyone's chest. Someone inside the company wanted Victor dead. Victor's sharp eyes darted around the room. He had built his empire from nothing, trusted very few people, and now betrayal was sitting under his own roof. He leaned on the desk, his voice deep and steady. "Daniel, lock the building down. No one leaves until we get answers." Daniel nodded, rushing out. Martha squeezed Jeremiah's hand, whispering, "Stay quiet, son. Don't get involved anymore." But it was too late. Jeremiah already was involved. The investigation began. By afternoon, Police and bomb squad officers swarmed the company. Dozens of employees were questioned. Whispers filled every corner. Who would dare do this? Could it be a rival executive? What if it was someone close to him? Victor sat in the boardroom with detectives Daniel and a few senior executives, but his gaze kept drifting toward the small figure sitting just outside the glass door, Jeremiah. The boy's alert eyes scanned everything, like he was connecting dots the adults missed. Detective Harris leaned forward. Mr. Cole, the device was professional. Whoever planted it had access to the restricted parking zone. This isn't some street thug. This is an inside job. Victor's fists clenched. Then find the traitor. Jeremiah's observation. While the boardroom buzzed with theories, Jeremiah tugged on his mother's sleeve. Mom, remember last night? Those men I heard in the parking lot. Martha nodded nervously. Yes, baby. You already told Mr. Cole. Jeremiah bit his lip, but I remember something else. One of them dropped a key card. I think it had the company logo on it. Martha froze. A key card? That meant an employee. She rushed into the boardroom, trembling. Sir, my boy remembered something. He says one of the men dropped a company access card. The room went still. Daniel shot to his feet. That narrows it down. We'll check the security logs immediately. Victor's eyes locked on Jeremiah. Good work. Son, you've just given us the lead we needed. Hours later, Daniel returned with shocking news. He slammed a file onto the table. The card belonged to Harvey Briggs, head of finance. Gasps filled the room. Harvey, a well-dressed man in his 50s, had been with the company for nearly 20 years. Loyal, trusted, or so they thought. Security dragged Harvey into the boardroom, his tie crooked, sweat dripping. He stammered. This is a mistake. I didn't do anything. But when police searched his office, they found encrypted emails linking him to a rival corporation. A plot, payment, everything. The company shook to its core. Employees whispered in disbelief. Harvey? No way. He was at every Christmas party. All these years. Victor looked at him with cold fury. You wanted me dead. But a boy you looked down on saved me. Jeremiah stood behind his mother, staring at Harvey with wide eyes. For the first time, he realized the power of his own voice. But then, another twist. Just as police cuffed Harvey, Jeremiah's voice piped up again. Wait, that's not the man I heard. Everyone froze. Victor frowned. What do you mean, Jeremiah? The boy's voice shook, but he stood firm. The man I heard, he had a higher voice. Younger. He kept calling someone boss. Harvey's voice is too deep. It wasn't him. The room erupted. Was Harvey being framed? Victor raised his hand for silence. His gut told him the boy wasn't lying. If the boy says Harvey wasn't there, then someone else is pulling the string. Detectives exchanged worried glances. Had they caught the wrong man? That night, when the building emptied out, Victor stayed late in his office. Only a few guards lingered in the hall. He poured himself a drink, staring out over the city lights, his mind racing. Suddenly, a faint knock. The door creaked open. Jeremiah stepped in, his mother behind him. Sir, Jeremiah can't sleep. He says he keeps thinking about those voices, Martha explained. Jeremiah looked down. One of them, he said something about running the company soon, like he was waiting for you to be gone. Victor froze. His glass slipped, shattering on the floor. Running the company soon. Only one person stood to gain the most if Victor died. Slowly, Victor turned toward the glass wall of his office, where COO Daniel Reed was standing, watching him like a hawk. Their eyes met, and in that chilling silence, Victor finally understood. Victor dismissed Martha and Jeremiah to safety, then called Daniel inside. His voice was calm, but laced with steel. Tell me, Daniel, how long have you been planning this? Daniel laughed softly, shaking his head. You always underestimated me, Victor. Decades of loyalty, and still, you treated me like a shadow. I built half this empire. It should have been mine. Victor's jaw tightened. So you used Harvey as a scapegoat. Daniel smirked. He was perfect, old, tired. Everyone would believe it until that boy opened his mouth. His eyes darkened. That boy ruined everything. Before Victor could respond, Daniel pulled a pistol from his jacket. But before he could fire, stop, a small voice rang out. Jeremiah, who had slipped back into the office, stood at the door, shaking but determined. Daniel sneered. Go home, boy. This is business. Jeremiah's eyes filled with tears, but his voice was steady. You can shoot, but the whole building already knows. I told the guards everything. Everyone knows you're the traitor. Daniel froze, because at that exact moment, red and blue lights flashed outside the window. Police stormed the floor. Victor's lips curved into the faintest smirk. You should have learned. Daniel, never underestimate the small voices. They carry the loudest truth. Within seconds, officers disarmed Daniel, dragging him away in cuffs as he cursed and fought. The next morning, news headlines screamed. Cleaner's son saves CO twice in 24 hours. From janitor's boy to hero of the company. Traitor CO arrested in assassination plot. Employees applauded Jeremiah as he walked through the lobby with his mother. For the first time, They didn't see a cleaner's child. They saw a hero. Victor stood before the entire company, his voice carrying across the marble hall. Yesterday, I almost lost my life, but this boy, Jeremiah, reminded me that true courage doesn't come from titles or wealth or power. It comes from standing up even when your voice shakes. He placed a hand on Jeremiah's shoulder. From this day forward, Jeremiah and his mother will never be overlooked again. Martha, you are promoted to full-time staff with benefit. And Jeremiah, you'll have a scholarship. Your education, your future. This company will fund it all. Tears filled Martha's eyes. Jeremiah looked up, speechless. For the first time, he felt seen. The entire building erupted in applause. As the crowd cheered, Victor whispered to Jeremiah, "You didn't just save me. You saved this company from itself." And the boy, the cleaner's black son who once stood unnoticed in the shadows, smiled with pride, knowing his voice had changed everything. Like, share, comment, and subscribe for awesome and more engaging videos.